or sinus thing. I'm not sure which it is, but I know that allergy season is upon us, and the pollen count is like crazy high. So if I'm scratchy and weird and sniffy, I apologize in advance. I had asked Spirit for a message this morning, and I really, probably because I was doped up on meds, not really receiving very well as I normally do, and a lot of different ideas came into my mind, and I was very scattered, and yesterday spent a good portion of the day on the sofa, kind of just trying to convalesce, and got up and went to the grocery store to get a couple of things for today. And I wanted to share with you my experience at the grocery store. And I thought it was perfect because it kind of gave us a really clear picture of being in the world and not part of it. And what does that mean? We're in the world, we live in the world, we move around in the world, we function in the world, but we've removed ourselves according to our calling and our awareness from the spirit of the world. So I went to Aldi's. So I went to Aldi's and I'm putting all my groceries in the bag. And anybody who goes there knows, you bring your own bags, or they have bags and boxes there, and you're putting your groceries in there. And the girl in the line in front of me, I would say she was in her mid-20s, and she was with an older man, maybe her dad or her uncle, somebody a generation older than her. And she was very, very angry. And she was cussing up a storm. Every other word was the F word. I mean, she was so mad, and she's putting stuff. I mean, her grocery cart was piled as high as it possibly could, and there were a couple dozen roses in there, and I don't know where she was preparing for a party, or they were clearly going someplace, and but she was really, really mad, and the more stuff that this gentleman tried to help her with, the more angry she became. Get away, just get away, I'll do it myself. And, with a lot of the F word, salt and peppered all through every sentence. And her body language was really abrupt, and you could see that she was escalating. You could see in her body language and in her tone and in her attitude that as she was going through the line, she was having a tough time. She wanted part of it to be on a credit card and part of it to be cash. Maybe she was buying for somebody else, and this became a frustration. So as I'm putting my groceries in my bag, she's next to me putting her groceries in bags, and the gentleman that's with her is trying to help her put the stuff in the bag, and she yells at him and tells him, get away, just get away. And then I started to have this crazy internal dialogue, and this is that whole part of the world or not part of the world. It's really easy, because my first reaction on a gut level was to be a little annoyed with her. Like, oh my gosh, really? Do you have to spew all that obscenity, word after word, in the grocery store, cursing out this old guy? And then I thought about it, and I could sense her anger, but more her frustration. And this wasn't somebody who was mean. This is somebody who was scared. This is somebody who was upset. And the only way that she knew, based on the tools that she had to react to the situation, was to warn him. And now I'm going to say a bad word. You ready? And she said, I'm going to lose my shit. You don't hear me say bad words very often. So, and so how many of us have heard someone say that in the last 30 days? Yeah, you hear it a lot. This is like a new catchphrase, and so what happens that in our life that it goes to that extreme? I'm going to lose my shit. And I'm thinking, now, this is at the grocery store, putting groceries in a bag. That's what's causing this gross stress. What if something serious happened, like the zombie apocalypse or something? Then what's going to happen to this woman? She's just going to click, have a hemorrhage and die. Because if this is going to make her lose her shit, that is certainly going to make her completely blow a gasket. You know, so all these little trials and tribulations that we have are really a test for the greater stuff. You know, it prepares us in a way for the big stuff that we have to deal with, the big stresses, the serious problems that we have. If you can't get through the grocery line, you're in trouble. So the internal dialogue that I'm having is all of this and more, because our brain works really fast as we're standing there. And I'm like, should I reach out to her? And then I'm thinking about the options of things that might happen in reaching out to her. You know, I could say something to her and she's going to attack me. That is a good chance, right? Or I may reach out to her and she may be receptive. Or she may ignore me. And then I thought to myself, it really doesn't matter what she does. It only matters what I do. Right? Isn't that what I say all the time? That's what I teach you guys. So certainly that's the way that I should behave. So I said, hey, sweetie. And she went, yes. I said, it's going to be okay. Really, it's going to be okay. It could be a whole hell of a lot worse. And she looked at me for a second. And I think she was thinking about yelling at me. but she didn't yell at me. She didn't. She said, yeah, I guess so. So I kind of felt like this is a perfect example of, you know, in the world but not part of it. You know, I didn't say, hey girl, I know exactly how you're feeling. I could lose my shit too. You know, that's being in the world. That's buying into it, escalating it. So I removed her from that moment of freaking out. That's what was going on. She was building herself up to a complete meltdown over nothing, over absolutely nothing. And then realizing, you know, yeah, it could be a lot worse than this, that's for sure. Okay. So on her way out, you know, I got my stuff, I put it in my grocery cart, and off I go to my car, and I said, sweetie, you have a nice day. And I was waiting for her to say something mean to me, but she didn't. She said, you have a nice day too. And I felt really, really good about doing that internal assessment and deciding, what do I want to do? Am I going to take a chance? Am I going to risk it? Am I going to, you know, if she yelled at me, she would have yelled at me. Big deal. I've been yelled at before. Anybody here not been yelled at before? That would be unique, wouldn't it? So the worst that she could have said is, hey, listen, Miss Goody Two Shoes, take a hike. All right, whatever. Whatever. So, but that's not what happened. That's not what happened. So clearly there was something there that was in need of nurture. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I know for a fact when she was walking to her car, she was not cussing at the guy that was with her anymore. So that was really good. Really good. So, you know, that was my experience yesterday that I wanted to share with you and switch it into a lesson in that it gave me an opportunity to demonstrate what I really feel is important to demonstrate in our day-to-day life. You know, being kind and extending ourselves, even outside of our comfort zone. Because I'll be honest with you, I wasn't feeling good. You know, my nose is running, my throat is scratchy. I just wanted to mind my own business. But I couldn't. I couldn't. Because it was almost like looking away was in some way condoning the behavior and not addressing the fact that it was going on. So I'm going to extend that to you as an invitation. Be very careful in doing so. Don't expect always positive responses, but certainly we want to be that light, you know. And if people are looking the other way, there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, look, I'm a light. You can lean on me. If you need a hug, you know, I'll be a hug for you. You need a shoulder, I'll be a shoulder for you. So I leave that with you with its blessing. That's my blessing for today.
Thank you.